goes like this, the fourth and fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, and the baffled king composing hallelujah,
hallelujah, and drive this ship. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, thanks so much for having us, Kenyatta. We so appreciate just what you invest into this radio show, and just to the public, just offering such an amazing program each and every week, and letting us be able to talk about things that some aren't able to do. And you've provided a voice all across the world, and we're just so appreciative of that. Well, today we have a wonderful hand-picked panel of moms with boys, and they range from 3 years of age to 25 years of age with their children. And so we have 4 beautiful women here with us that are going to give insight into how they've raised their children to be the amazing, godly boys that they are. How does that happen? In this day and age, we hear so many different things about how bad children are, how bad teenagers are. Well, we're here to tell you that there are ways that you can raise your children in this world to love the Lord and to be good citizens and to raise them right. And so we're so excited to introduce you to these 4 moms. We have with us Roberta Goins and Tina Jackson, Stacy Cormier, and Rochelle Haviland. And I'm going to let each one of them just give a little bit of their wisdom and insight, and hopefully that will just give you some ideas that maybe you have never thought about before. And so we're going to turn it over to Stacy first. And Stacy, are you there?
I am. Hi. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Well, I know you have 3 boys, and they're ages 8 to 25, is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. And so are all 3 of them, were they raised Christian from the very beginning?
Well, the oldest is my stepson. So I think I met my husband when this boy was 2. So he's, always been a son to me. So we did not get born again until he was maybe 7 or 8. So no. I lived in the world. Travis had fallen away, I guess. And as far as his mom, I don't believe that home was a Christian home. I don't believe so. So, nope. So we started going to church, I guess, when I was pregnant with my second boy, Hunter. And then, so him and then the youngest, of course, yes.
So if you give us just a little insight into that. So you have a 25-year-old boy who was not necessarily raised in a Christian home to begin with,
right,
but then was integrated into your home when he was with you.
Yep.
How did that work, being from in a home that maybe on weekends wasn't, right, or vice versa, and then coming into one that was?
Well, we just kind of hit on that before, Roberta and I, so kick in if you have anything to say. But that was really challenging, I think, because we were trying to figure ourselves out, right, and who we were as Christians. So it's not like we were raised Christians and we brought this in and kind of knew how to make that happen. So we were kind of learning through that process. So like I said last time, he just got a different set of parents. Not that we weren't good people, but we definitely didn't know the word and we didn't know to do those things.
Right.
So the challenge that we had is we did get born again and didn't know to start doing those things was that, like Roberta said, we would send him to his house. We had him on the weekends. And when we would send him to his other home, maybe, just like any home, the discipline is different or things are different. Not necessarily wrong, which is done different. And when you get them back, you kind of have to go through this retraining process. And and it's just, with everything. So definitely challenging. And then we got custody of him when he was 13. I think he started living with us full time. So that made a difference. He always went to church with us. And that boy always loved it. Like, he never gave us a hard time going to church. Like, it was very sad to think, well, I wish you could go on the weekends you weren't with us. It was a very 90-mile distance between our homes. So it wasn't like we could go get him and take him. So it's challenging. So do you find the same thing? What was your kind of, you're nodding your head over there like you're...
I'm just listening to you talk, and the first thought I had in my mind, because now I am a stepmother to a now 13-year-old, And I came onto this scene when he was just turning 11. So it's been about 2.5 years. But my first thought was to ask you, because I'm like looking into my future, this crystal ball of my future, because now this oldest child is 25. So how do you feel now that he's grown and gone and an adult on his own? Do you feel like the roots that you guys implanted back when he was in that impressionable age, that like, pre-teen, tweener, and the teenage horrible years, like, did that stick?
Well, with him, we didn't even have horrible years with him. I mean, we, likely you hear nightmares about children. He's a good kid. So,
So is ours.
I would have to say that he's still navigating his 20s, but I don't ever worry about him coming back to church someday. Like, he knows. We knew enough to know that much, and we knew enough to know that we needed to change us and how we were living according to what God was, what God reveals to you and how you do that. That would be enough. I mean, he saw that. So he saw our marriage. He saw those things. So I don't worry about that at all.
Well, God's word doesn't return void. So I believe that what you are doing in your home, even though Roberta and Stacy, sometimes your children aren't always with you, that they're taking that word that's in your home and they're taking that with them when they go, just like our children when they go to school and work and things like that. So the same thing applies. And like you said, Stacy, is that he's now 25. That word's implanted in him, and so it won't return void, whether it be now or in the future. At some point, yes, he's got that within him.
Yeah. And he, he has children, so they allow us to take them to church, which is great. I mean, if he's not at a place where he's doing that, it's okay.
Does the seeds
His kids are going to know what he's familiar with it.
You're listening to Unashamed by Grace with Joanne Pelcher, right here on ChristianMedia.com.
I heard there was a secret chord David played and it pleased.
He's going to be 18, December? Is that right? Yeah. And so I've known you since our boys were, in 4th grade?
I believe so, yes.
Yes. And I've seen, like I said earlier, I've handpicked all these moms just because of how amazing I know their children are and how they've turned out. And so, Rochelle, I've seen Vikram grow into this amazing young man. And can you give us just what are some tips? As far as what did you do? How is he so amazing? What did you do to raise him that way?
Well, we always kind of feel that it's by the grace of God, really,
Amen.
because it's kind of a lot of, I feel like one of the reasons he's turned out so well is having him in church and in the same church, planting him in Living Word. God has used Living Word to bless our family.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So.
Now, did you, when he was growing up, did he have free reign, to go to anyone's house or anyone spend? How did you ever monitor his friends? Let's say, how did that work?
I feel like I gave him a lot of freedom, but he also was raised around in an environment where it was easier to find connections with people that we would have handpicked for him. That's the thing. I feel like we've been really blessed. I feel like sometimes we say despite of our actions, he's turned out really well, to be honest with you. So I really do. I feel like we did give him a lot of grace. I tried not to overreact if he would, because he had those occasional things that he would do, and just kind of have confidence that the seeds are planted and that he's in church. I did make him go to church, and now that he's out of the house now, he's in college. He doesn't go as often as I would like, but I try to not make that a punitive thing and just encourage him. And so we usually meet for Sunday dinner and go to church at Living Word, and he usually shows up. But I can't make him now. I've chosen not to. I mean, we could probably still. He's 17. I can probably, but we've just kind of chosen to treat him more like an adult the last year or so, so he could get used to making that decision on his own. But I definitely encourage it and that kind of thing. So.
Well, yeah, we're moms. We're always going to do that, right? I know
Definitely.
my husband's mom was in town, and Brian said he caught himself several times going, I think she said things that she told me when I was a kid. And we looked at Clayton and I said, honey, I'm going to be doing the same things to you.
Oh, my goodness.
It's just because we're moms. We love our children, and we always want to give them the advice because we know, what they should be doing, and whether they take it or not, like you said, Rochelle, we hope that they make the right choices. But you have to let them go. Like, you have to release them to grow up.
Yeah, and I'm kind of going through kind of a reverse. I'm in the process of getting divorced from my spouse, and he doesn't necessarily make church a priority. So he kind of gets a different message from both of us, and it's fine. He's going to make his own decision, but he's definitely attracted to being around the church. I mean, it's definitely something that I know he'll do. Is I know he'll eventually get married sooner rather than later. And have a lot of grandbabies with a strong Christian woman. I know he will.
Yeah.
Like that's, I think that's the most important decision that he'll make is who he has children with, who he marries and has children with. So he has very good taste in that area too. So that to me, like, it's more important than the career he chooses and all that kind of thing. So.
Well,
I think too, church. I was just thinking that church. Everybody's been talking about. He didn't grow up in church. He might go to church. I wonder if he's going to go back to church. And as you ladies were speaking, I was thinking, what? We are the church. We are the church. So sometimes we might be the only church or Jesus someone sees or hears, and it could change by one word. And I think moms can find that word as we get into the word.
Well, as I was listening to you, there's like a reoccurring theme with the older boys, is that we've raised them in a godly home, and now we hope that they continue with that. And that, of course, is my prayer too, with my son being 18 and going into the Navy. And I know that they have, kind of like in certain schools, they'll have a church hour where you take a break from school and you go to the church service. Well, they have that in the Navy as well. And he said, Mom, at least I'll get my church, But so I'm hearing that as they get older, and you know what that is our children are growing up, and we have to let them make those choices. And so with Tina, I know you have two little ones. They're 3 and 5. And so
5.
Do you want to give parents out there insight that have younger ones who haven't, they're not in our shoes yet, but will be. What are some of the things that you're doing to raise your sons to grow up in the Lord?
Well, I'd love to give some insight because I am constantly seeking insight myself as a mom. And one thing I would encourage is a parenting class in your community or even a church mom group. It doesn't necessarily have to be a mom-boy thing, but there's mom clubs, there's mom groups in our churches. The Moms of Destiny has really brought messages that could really encourage other moms, and just several different groups that I've been a part of that has helped me when I was single prepare myself as a wife and then become a mother. I was an aunt for 30 nieces and nephews, and I was like, you'll never be the mom, you'll never be married. But I became married, and now I'm a mom. And it's like God blessed me, being a mom over 40. And I'm like, hey, I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. Either they're going to keep me younger or they're going to make me get old real quick. So I choose to live young. Yes. Live as young as you feel.
That's right.
But, one of the things I do encourage moms with toddlers is to involve your kids with worship, with music. I find music really connects us. And when I'm praising and singing and lifting God's name up in the car, even in a moment of frustration, they're watching me because I see in the rearview mirror how they are responding.
Especially
I see my child raise his hands if I, decide to raise my hand. I'm driving, of course, so I'll be careful. But it's like I'm singing out loud, and I see him Mom, turn